Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhada Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Gukarastvandhakarascha Rukarasthanniva Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururithyabhidhiyate. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambu Janmane Savilasa Mahamoha Grahagrasaika Karmane. The discussion that is going on now is about the Jiva Dvaita, or the duality created by Jiva, which also is divided into two sections, Shastriyam and Asastriyam. Shastriyam is that which has consent of Shastra, that kind of Dvaitam. Asastriyam which does not have consent of Shastra. So Shastriyam, in terms of Nishiddha Karma, all the prohibited actions, all of that has to be given up right away. But Shastriyam Dvaitam, of the nature of Vedanta Vichara, which involves Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, and anything related to that would be called Shastriyam Dvaita, meaning the duality which has consent of Shastra, which setup is required in order to gain the knowledge that has to be retained until the knowledge takes place. Well, after the knowledge takes place, meaning that all obstacles are removed, then there is no need even for the Shastriya Dvaita to be retained. Meaning one should not consider it one's duty that a particular kind of study, etc. has to be pursued. Well, one may as well do, because study the scriptures does not deny knowledge. If you already have the knowledge, study of scripture is not going to take that knowledge away. And these are being told, certainly this text is addressing the mumuksha, who wants to plan out everything, and so what next, and that type of thing. So it's being told that look, when the knowledge takes place, there won't be any need for you to continue with this study, etc. Because whatever the studies of the scriptures have to contribute is already done, and therefore there is no need to continue with the scriptures. And so that should also be given up. There is no injunction that you will give up something, that now you have to eliminate throw away all your books and stuff like that. There is no need. It only means that you will be free from even the need of depending upon the scriptures. There is no need for you to study or contemplate regularly, because you already abide in the knowledge which is the result of the study and contemplation. Meaning that the Shastriyam Dvaitam also will ultimately go away. Now the Asastriya Dvaita, meaning the Dvaita which is not in keeping with the Shastra, which was said to be given up, what is that is being now discussed here? From the verse 49, says ashastriyasyapi dvaitasya avantar bhedamaha. Avantar bheda, the secondary kind of division. So primary division was shastriya and ashastriya, a subdivision. Avantar bheda means a subdivision. So the subdivision of what we call ashastriya dvaita, or the duality which the Shastra does not condone, which has to be given up, that also is further subdivided into two categories. And what are they? That's what the verse 49 says. Ashastriyamapi dvaitam tīvram mandamiti dvidha kamakrodhadikam tīvram manorajyan tasetarara. Ashastriyam vidvaitam dvidha. Even the so-called ashastriya dvaita, which is nishiddha, which is something that is prohibited by the Shastra, or which the Shastra asks you to give up, that also is dvidha, is also twofold. Tivram mandamiti. So it is tivram dvaitam, mandam dvaitam. Tivram means that which is very strong or intense, and mandam is that which is weak. So what do you mean by strong and weak? Something that is a stronger obstacle. So Shastriya Dvaita is that which helps you gain the knowledge. Ashastriya Dvaita is that which is an obstacle to the knowledge. So ultimately what the scriptures want us to give up is only that which, according to the scriptures, would be an obstacle to what we are pursuing. We are pursuing happiness. Even if there is karma to be performed, we are asked to perform karma in a given way and avoid performing in another way, because what we are seeking through the performance of karma, namely happiness, will come only when the obstacles to happiness are eliminated. And therefore, nishedha is given there. And so also, we are asked to give certain dvaita, because that dvaita is an obstacle to what we are pursuing, namely knowledge, and we are asked to continue. So continue with certain other dvaita, which is called shastriyam dvaitam, because that is an aid to the knowledge. So shravanadikam, the shravanam, manam, etc., which also involves duality, is an aid to knowledge, and therefore we are asked to retain that. Whereas kamakrodhadikam tivram, so this tivra dvaita means kamakrodhadi is a very strong obstacle. So based on their intensity of being obstacle, they are called tivra and manda. And manorajya means that loitering of the mind, wandering of the mind is called manorajya. Or the mind all the time reveling in its own imaginations, this is called manorajya. So kama krodha are something that are very strong or powerful obstacles. At the same time, the unsteadiness of the mind or the distraction of the mind also is an obstacle, but not as strong an obstacle as this kama krodha is. And therefore, kama krodha is said to be tivram dvaitam, and this manorajya or the distraction of the mind is said to be the mandam dvaitam. So dvidhamapi kramena udaharati kama iti itarat manorajyam. Itarat means another one, mandam. So we have two obstacles, mala and vikshepa. Mala means ragadvesha and vikshepa means distraction. So both of them have to be given up because both are obstacles to knowledge. So first obstacle is avaranam, meaning ignorance. And secondary obstacles are mala and vikshepa. Mala is ragadvesha, which is indicated here by kama krodhadikam. So passions, anger, etc., which we have, so this is called mala or impurity of the mind, which is an obstacle to knowledge. And then the vikshepa, the distraction of the mind. The mind doesn't have a discipline of being single-pointed, of being consistently applying itself to a given pursuit. So when that kind of a discipline is not there, then that indisciplined mind also becomes an obstacle. And so both the obstacles have to be eliminated, of which the Kama Krodha being a very strong obstacle should be addressed immediately, and then we also have to address ourselves to that distraction of the mind. So that's what is said here in the next verse. Kim anayoho shastriya dvaitasya iva, not eva, shastriya dvaitasya, it's printed shastriya dvaitasya, meaning shastriya dvaitasya iva. Tattvabodhottar kalameva hetvam. So to say that the shastriyam dvaitam, meaning study of the scriptures, etc., we were told to give it up only after the dawn of knowledge. So this ashastriyam dvaitam, meaning this kama, krodha, etc., and the distraction, should that also be given up after the knowledge arises? That's the question. So you say that one kind of dvaita, manasa dvaitam, which is shastriyam, should be given up only after the knowledge arises. Until then you should retain it. Should we also retain this one? This kama, krodha, and this manorajya, should we retain that also? No, ityaha, no, that should not be retained, that should be given up right away. And that's being said in the verse 15. Ubhayam tattva bodhat prak nivaryam bodha siddhaye shamas samahitatvancha sadhaneshu shrutam yataha. Ubhayam tattvabodhat prat nivaryam. Ubhayam, both of this mala and vikshepa, meaning kama, krodha, raga, dvesha, as well as vikshepa, the distraction of the mind, both this dvaitam, tattvabodhat prat nivaryam, has to be given up, tattvabodhat prat, before the dawn of knowledge, because they are obstacles to knowledge and therefore they must be given up right away. Of that also, the mala, meaning kama, krodha, should be given up immediately. One should address oneself immediately to this, and then subsequently also address oneself to the distraction or the unsteadiness of the mind. Why should we do that? Bodha siddhe parang nivaranam kimarthamiti. Question is, why are you saying that we should eliminate this twofold dvaita? Ityataha bodha siddhe iti, for attainment or accomplishment of knowledge. So if accomplishment of knowledge requires a freedom from kamala and vikshepa. Why do you say that? So on what authority are you telling us that this dvaita must be given up? Tatra lingamaha. So lingam means evidence is given there. So there is no direct statement of the Shruti which says you give up kama, krodha, etc. Although there are, but here he gives us a statement of the Shruti from which we can infer. So when Shruti says that, when someone tells you, that no dairy products must be eaten, let us say something like that, that among that curd, etc., also should not be taken. Even though something specifically may not have been stated, but you can infer or implies. So one statement implies something else. So very often you directly say, don't eat curd. Or otherwise you say, don't eat anything that is white. So since curd also is white, well, that also is included there. So by implication. So also there are different ways of analyzing the Shruti statements. And the first, the most important and most powerful statements are Shruti, where directly things are stated. But where direct instructions are not there, then secondly you look for linga, meaning look for evidence or implications. Tatra lingamaha. So here author says that we are saying that this raga, dvesha, etc. must be given up, and that is based on the statements of Shruti. What is this? Shamaha samahitatvam cha sadhaneshu shrutam yatah, because sadhaneshu, when the Upanishads describe the sadhanam, so sadhana chatushta sampatti, when the Upanishads talks about the sadhana chatushta sampatti, that fourfold qualifications, viveka, vairagya, samadhi, shatka sampatti, mumukshutvam, in that sadhanam, in those means, shamaha samahitatvam cha shrutam. Shamaha and Samahitatvam. So when Shastra talks about Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, it is Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. What is Shamaha? Shama is the freedom from conflict, Kama Krodhadikam. So Shamaha means Ichharahityam or Mano Nigraha. A quietude, Shama means Shanti. Shamaha means quietude of the mind. Meaning mind is free from any kind of a conflict or mind is free from any kind of demands. Meaning mind should be free from desires. So Ichharahityam, freedom from desires, because it is desire that creates a conflict in the mind, and therefore that Shamaha is to be attained by dosha drushtya muhurmuhu. So manasaha Shama uchyate. Virajya vishayavratat dosha drushtya muhurmuhu swalakshe niyatavastha manasaha Shama uchyate. Vivek Chudamani says that what is called the Shamaha or the quietude or tranquility of the mind, when Virajya vishayavratat, all these sense objects that are there, they create a desire to enjoy. So there is a bhoga buddhi, a desire to enjoy the various pleasures. So Virajya vishayavratat, there is a whole group of variety of sense objects around. Dosha drushtya muhurmuhu virajya. Again and again see the dosha drushti. Again and again reflect upon all the doshas or all the defects or the problems involved with every sense pleasure. And that is how make the mind free from the fascination that it has for the sense pleasure. So freedom from the bhoga buddhi or fascination for the sense pleasure is what brings about a quietude of the mind. Because mind becomes disturbed whenever there is kama inside. And when the kama is there, krodha is going to be there. And that is the asanti or the lack of quietude of the mind. Shamaha means therefore freedom from kama krodha is called Shamaha. And Bhagavad Gita also talks, kama krodha vyuktanam yatinam yata chetasam. So those yatis, all those ascetics who are free from kama and krodha. Shaknoti haivayasoram prak sharira vimokshanat kama krodhodbhavam vedam sayuktah sasukhi naraha. So he is called a yogi and he is called a really happy person who can contain that force, that the passion as well as anger they generate from within. Those who can contain them, they are called yogis and they are really happy people. So Shastra talks about it all along as to how the mind should be free from kama, krodha or ragadvesha. And then samadhanam, the last of the samadhi satka sampattis, samadhanam is chitta naischalyam. So single pointedness or concentration of mind is called samadhanam. In fact, that samadhanam is the same as samadhi, because words samadhanam and samadhi are derived from the same root. So what the yogis call samadhi is what the Vedantins call samadhanam. Chitta naischalyam or chitta ekagrata, meaning the ability to apply the mind in the pursuit that we desire. And freedom from any distractions is called samadhanam. Meaning there should be no manorajya, there should be no distraction of the mind. That is called samadhanam. So sadhaneshu, in the sadhanas, when the Vedanta Shastra talks about the sadhanam, the means of knowledge, then we find that these two are mentioned there. Samaha, the quiet tranquility of the mind, as well as samadhanam, the single pointedness of the mind, both are mentioned, and therefore we say that this should be given up. And therefore, dusyadetu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhihi. Agraya buddhya. Agraya buddhya means ekagra buddhi, where buddhi is ekagra, single pointed, and sukshmaya buddhya. Sukshma meaning which is free from kama, krodha, etc., as well as which is samskara of Shastra Shravanam. So, Shastra says this again and again, that this kind of manora, this kind of dvaitam, this ragadvesha, kama, krodha, etc., tayornava samagachet tauhyasya paripanthinau. Hey Arjuna, do not deliver yourself in the hands of dislikes and dislikes, because they are your enemy. The enemy for the person who is pursuing knowledge. Therefore, the author says, therefore we say that this kama, krodha and manorajya must be given up. That's what Tikakara says, yatah Tattvabodhat prat tayoho heyatvam. Since before the arising of the knowledge, tayoho heyatvam, that both of them should be discarded. Tatah eva, therefore, nitya nitya vastu vivekadi brahmajnana sadhaneshu. In all these sadhana, the means of brahmajnanam, beginning from nitya nitya vastu viveka. So nitya nitya vastu vivekadi, the nitya nitya vastu viveka adihi, yesham te nitya nitya vivekadaya. So those sadhanas in which nitya nitya vastu viveka is the first one. So in between, madhye, among them, shantah samahitahit padabhyam shanti samadhi shruyate. Shanto danto paradastitikshuhu shraddhavitvo bhutva or samahito bhutva. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is also available in there are two recensions. Because Brihadaranyaka Upanishad belongs to the Shukla Yajurveda. The Yajurveda again has two recensions, or two shakhas, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla. In Shukla Yajurveda, which is called the white Yajurveda, and Krishna is a black Yajurveda, whatever. So in that Shukla Yajurveda also, there are two recensions. So two schools are there, two methods of chanting, etc. And the one is the Kanva Shaka, other is the Madhyandini. So one is famous in North India, other is famous in South India. Even among the Shukla Yajurveda also, there are two. So in Kanva Shaka and Madhyandini Shaka, in both the Shaka recensions, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is available. And there are some minor Pathaveda, minor reading differences are there. In this particular section, one of them says, Shanto Danto Paradastitikshuhu Shraddhavitva Bhutva. So, being possessed of all the Shamadama, etc. Other lines of Shraddhavitva says, Samahito Bhutva. Therefore, Vedantins combine both of them. And Shraddha and Samadhanam. So, both of them are included in the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. That's how we arrive at Shama, Dama, Uparama, Tidiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. The source of that is this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And that's what the Tikakara quotes as Shantaha. Shanto Danta Uparadastitikshuhu Samahito Bhutva iti Parabhyam. By these two words, Shanti Samadhi Shruyate. The Shruyate means Shrutya Pratipadyate. We find that Shruti in fact enjoins or Shruti recommends these two, Shanti as well as Samadhanam. And so that also should be given up. Now, a very interesting discussion follows here. It says, Nanu Tattvabodhat Prang Nivaryam iti Abhidanat Uttarakalam Asya Svikarita Syad iti Ashankyaha. Well, why should such a question arise? I do not know, but somehow the question is raised here. Nanu, the question is, Tattvabodhat Prang Nivaryam. Verse 58 said, Ubhayam Tattvabodhat Prang Nivaryam Bodha Siddhe. So both of these Kama Krodha as well as Manorajya, the distraction of the mind, both of them must be given up. Even when you start the pursuit of the knowledge, it is Abhidanat, when you say this. So when you say that this should be given up before the occurrence of knowledge, does it mean that Uttarakalam Asya Svikarita Syat, that after the knowledge takes place, then we can now have Kama, Krodha and Manorajya? Is it okay? So why do you say that it should be given up before knowledge? Does it mean that after knowledge, then fine, we can have this Kama, Krodha, etc.? So it looks like, so when you said before, it looks as though afterwards they are acceptable, they are permitted. Iti ashankyaha. So the verse 51 answers that question. Bodhadurdhancha tadheyam Jivan mukti prasiddhaye Kamadiklesha bandhena Yuktasya nahi muktata. Bodhat urdhvancha tadheyam. Tadheyam becomes tadheyam. Tadheyam. tat ubhayam ashastriyam dvaitam bodhat urdhvam api heyam. That twofold asastriya dvaita, meaning mala, kama, krodha and vikshepa or manorajya, that should be given up even after the dawn of knowledge. Not that it should be given up only before, it should not be entertained after the knowledge takes place also. Now this doesn't have to be told to the one who has the knowledge. This is addressed to the one who is planning what to do, you see. Whether to commit myself or what, what do we expect after knowledge? The question. Swami, once the knowledge takes place, then what? One Mahatma used to always say this in Hindi, the equivalent. Says, Maharaj ji, jab gyan ho gaya, fir kya karna? So what are we going to, what should I do now? After the knowledge takes place, what should I do? That question he raises now. He says, beta, shaadi kar lena, He says, okay, my child, you get married, So after that's how, because they want to know what happens, what are we supposed to do? So here also perhaps as a person like that asking this question here. And so it is said, bodhat urdhvam tatadhiyam. That should be given up even after the occurrence of knowledge. Why? Jivan mukti prasiddhaye. For accomplishment of jivan mukti. So, jivan neva muktihi muktaha jivan muktaha. One who is free even while living is called jivan muktaha. So, if you want to really gain that ananda, which is the very peculiar and very unique thing that a wise man enjoys, if you really want to enjoy the ananda that freedom gives you, then you should give up this also. Meaning just as kama, krodha are or raga, dvesha are the obstacles to the pursuit of knowledge, that raga, dveshas also become obstacles to that very enjoyment or that ananda that freedom or the knowledge gives you. So knowledge gives you an ananda which is natural. But then if there is kama, krodha, then mind becomes extrovert. And therefore that kama, krodha or raga, dvesha become the obstacle to enjoyment of your own ananda. So what the knowledge does is atmaniyeva atma tushtaha prajahat yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. So when all the manogatan kaman sarvan prajahadi, when all of these desires which obtain in the mind, all of them are given up, meaning all of them drop off in the wake of knowledge, atmaniyeva atmana tushtaha, then one is tushtaha, totally happy within himself, by himself. So mind should be abiding. In order that I can gain the happiness that I am, the mind should be abiding. If mind does not abide in Atma, if it goes all over, then obviously it cannot gain the happiness that Atma is. Now what happens when there is raga and dvesha in the mind? When there is raga or attachment or fascination for something, mind is going to dwell on that, and certainly it cannot dwell upon Atma. What when there is dvesha? There is a hatred or dislike or whatever, anger towards something, well, mind will dwell upon that also. It is the nature of the mind to dwell upon two things, that which it is attached to, whether it's raga, as well as that which it hates, dvesha. We would think that mind would not think of that. Well, I can understand that I can think of something, or I would like to think of something that I love or that I am attached to. Why should my mind think of something that I hate? But mind does, whether you want it or not. And more perhaps it does. Why? Because it doesn't like that. It wants to get rid of it. And the very idea makes it so restless that it builds upon that. And so we find that, generally speaking, when the mind is permitted to pursue its own thinking pattern, then it will think of one of these two things, that for which it has raga and that for which it has dvesha. So when raga dveshas are there in the mind remains engaged in the objects, obviously other than Atma. In an Atma, it remains engaged. It is an extrovert mind. And that mind cannot gain the ananda that Atma is. And therefore, to even enjoy that pleasure of Jivan Mukti, assuming that knowledge somehow takes place, and that raga dveshas are there, we cannot imagine how it can be. But suppose that knowledge has taken place, he knows himself as Ananda, and still for some reason or the other he yet has some samskaras or impressions on account of which he has still some fascinations, maybe certain things he never enjoyed, or he wanted to do and could not do it, or whatever it is. and so suppose they take hold of his mind, then that ananda which knowledge will give you, well, you will be deprived of that. So that's the idea here. Jivan mukti prasiddh hai. You will not be mukta, you will not really be free as long as you are in the hold of this raga dvesha or kama krodha. Why do you say that? Uktamartham vyatireka mukhena dradhayati. What is said, vyatireka mukhena, by the reverse way. Now, dradhayati says, what happens if you have raga dvesha? Says, kamadik klesha bandhena yuktasya nahi muktata. One who is yuktasya, one who is endowed with the bondage of kamadik klesha. Because kama creates klesha. Both raga and dvesha creates klesha, a suffering in the mind. When raga, when attachment is there, when something is away from me and I am attached to that, then mind dwells upon that, and then also there is klesha. Because I do not have what I want to have. And dvesha of course creates klesha, also creates suffering, because I don't want to think of what my mind is thinking. So both raga and dvesha, both of them create klesha. So when the mind is in the hold of likes and dislikes, that mind is going to be suffering or unhappy mind, and therefore kamadik klesha bandhena yuktasya, one who is endowed with this bondage which this kama and krodha brings about. When the fellow is already bound by kama krodha, nahi muktata, then where is freedom? Because what is freedom? Or what sort of freedom are we seeking? We are seeking the very freedom from that kama krodha. As Swami would say, the very desire is to be desireless, or the very desire is to become free from desire. And therefore, who is a free person? One who is free from the desire. And if you now entertain desires, entertain kama krodha, which means that you are not free. And therefore, in order to attain that freedom, which is called jivan mukti, you must be free from this kama krodha. He's trying to explain to us what is the nature of freedom. It looks like this is a ridiculous kind of dialogue, If someone has to be told at this point that when the knowledge Brahma Jnanam takes place, you know yourself is Brahman, that you should not have kama krodha. Where is the question? But here, in a way, the student is being told what is the nature of this jivan mukti. Jivan mukta is the one who is free from any kind of raga dvesha. So obviously, having discovered where is the raga dvesha anyway? If the knowledge is really there, then you know yourself to be everything. And there can be raga dvesha for yourself. I can't have attachment towards my hand and hatred towards my nose. That's not possible. Because nose also I am, a hand also I am. And therefore, I hate my little finger, and I love my thumb, and that kind of a thing cannot be there unless little finger is some, I don't know, under what conditions it can be, I can't imagine it can be, because little finger also I am, and thumb also I am. There cannot be raga and dvesha within oneself. And that's what knowledge is. Knowledge is to discover yourself to be everything. And therefore, there is no scope for likes and dislikes. But if the nature of knowledge is not understood, then perhaps one may feel that I can know myself as Brahman also, and still suppose I have raga dvesha, what does it matter? He says, no, it matters, because even if knowledge has taken place, sat pratibandhakam jnanam, knowledge somehow may take place, and still these obstacles are there. He says, well, those will become the obstacles to your gaining the happiness which jivan mukti or freedom has to give. So that's what it says in the second line, Kamadi rupo yah klesha sayo bandha. That klesha, or that grief, or that suffering that kama krodha creates in the mind, that itself becomes a bondage. Tena yuktasya bandhasya muktata jivan muktatvam nahi. There is eva nasti eva ityartha. That when you are bound by this kama krodha, there is a question of mukti. And therefore, you cannot enjoy the happiness of jivan mukti when your mind is stifled by the kama krodha. So please give it up once and for all. Otherwise he says, okay, now I am giving up, but later on I will take it. As children do. Okay, I am giving you now, but tomorrow give it back to me. And similarly also this one is, okay, I will give raga dvesha for the time being until I get the knowledge, but can I have them back again? He says, no, you cannot have them back ever. So Jivan Mukti Prasiddha. If you want Jivan Mukti, he says, I don't want Jivan Mukti, suppose. That's what he says. Nanu. Janmadi samsarat udvignasya atyandika purushartha rupaya videha muktya eva alam kim anaya apadikaya Jivan Muktya iti shankate. He says, well, what is this Jivan Mukti? Where do you bring that in? My problem is samsara. And what is samsara? Janmadi. Janma meaning birth. Samsara that is characterized by birth and death. And the pain and suffering which birth implies. So, Janmadi samsarat udvignasya. I am udvigna, I am fed up. I am fed up with the samsara. I am fed up with this whole series of this birth and death, which means total suffering, and I am fed up with this. And so what I want is a total freedom from this process of birth and death. Atyantika purushartha rupaya videha muktya eva alam. What is purushartha? So purushartha is that end that a man is seeking. Purushahi arthyate iti purushartha. So what the end that man is seeking is this freedom from suffering. That's how I am seeking. And I know that when I am born, suffering is going to be. Nobody can avoid. Even a wise man cannot avoid suffering the moment the birth is. And so, even whether it is, whoever it is, Ramana Maharshi is there, or Ramakrishna Paramahansa, anybody that you consider wise man, you find that the physical suffering is there in the life of everyone, because body always follows its own dharma. And therefore, suffering cannot be avoided the moment there is birth. And therefore he says, I want freedom from suffering. And therefore, I want freedom from birth. Meaning that when I die now, that must be my final death. And but at the death of this body, I want to be relieved from the cycle of birth and death once and for all. Meaning that I want what they call videha mukti. My attention is, I don't want to be born again. And so once this deha goes away, once this body drops off, then I am free totally. That is called videha mukti. And therefore, mukti of the freedom also is characterized by Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. So free even while alive and free after death. He says, I am quite happy if I have Videha Mukti. Even if I don't get this Jivan Mukti, I don't care. I am only interested in Videha Mukti because I know I don't want to be born again. And so, Atyantika Purushartha Rupaya, ultimately, Jivan Mukti also culminates into Videha Mukti. So when the person is free, even while being alive, well, certainly when the body drops off, he remains free. And so Videha Mukti is the ultimate goal. Videha Mukti means absolute or total freedom from birth and death and any kind of suffering. So some people feel that even a wise man, as long as the body is alive, so long even a wise man also is not free from the pain and any other suffering that the life has to bring, and that he will be even free from that when this body drops off. Then that Videha Mukti is freedom in absolute sense, a total freedom. So even Jivan Mukti also has a trace of bondage, because still limited by the body. Even that little trace also does not remain when the body drops off, and so Videha Mukti is the ultimate goal. So, Atyantika Purushartha Rupaya Videha Muktya. What I am interested in is that Atyantika, the ultimate Purushartha, ultimate goal that I am seeking, and that is Videha Mukti. Taya Evalam. I am quite satisfied with that. Kim Anaya Apadikaya Jivan Muktya. What's the need? So, Kim Vanena Dhanena. What's the need for this? That's the third case, Kim no Rajyena Govinda. Kim Bhogahi. Kim Jivikena Va. When Arjuna says, Kim no Ra, what is there in kingdom? What is there in pleasures? What is there in this life? So, when they use the third case in this way, then this is what is there. Similarly, Kim Anaya Jivan Muktya. What is there in this Jivan Mukti? Apadikaya. Something in between. Where do you bring this in between stage called Jivan Mukti? Because we are only shooting for Videha Mukti, and then what are you talking about this Jivan Mukti? Meaning that even if we don't get the enjoyment of Jivan Mukti, we don't care, because our aim is Videha Mukti. And therefore, suppose we don't want this Jivan Mukti, can we have Kama Krodha? That's the question. So, That's what the verse 52 says. जीवन मुक्तिरियं मा भूत जन्मा भावे त्वहं कृते तर्हि जन्मापि तेस्त्वेव स्वर्गमात्रात् कृति भवान्. So जीवन मुक्ति ही मा भूत. Puru Pakshi says, Yam Jivan Mukti Mahabhut. Let there not be the so-called Jivan Mukti. Then what? What do you want? Janma Abhavetu Aham Kriti. Kriti means Krita Kritya. So Kritam Asya Asti Kriti. Kriti means the one who has done whatever is to be done. Another word for that is Krita Kritya. So Kritam Krityam Yena Saha Krita Kritya. One by whom whatever is to be done in life has been done. It's called Krita Kritya. One is total content, one is satisfaction that I have done what all that is to be done. And that can be only when I find myself a completely fulfilled, a complete being. Otherwise, there cannot be satisfaction that I have done what is to be done. So Kriti means Krita Kritya. He says, Janma bhavetu aham kriti. I'll be quite satisfied or I'll be quite fulfilled when Janma abhava is there, when I become free from this subsequent birth. That's all. Meaning that all I am looking for, all I am interested in is Videha Mukti, meaning freedom from the cycle of birth and death. And even if there is no Jivan Mukti, it doesn't matter to me. Why would he say that? Why should he have any interest why is he interested in sacrificing his Jivan Mukti? For what? Says the Tikakara, Aihika Bhoga Nivritti Bhayat Jivan Mukti Tyage Amoshmika Bhoga Nivritti Bhayat Videha Mukti Tyajya Syadhi Pratibandhya Pariharti. So what's the reason why this fellow is interested in even giving up Jivan Mukti? Aihika Bhoga Nivritti Bhayat. That shows that he has a fear of giving up all the pleasures of Aihika which are available in this world. So he wants to retain the pleasures of this world. And if you have this Kama Kruva Vedana alone, you can enjoy life. And so he wants to retain that enjoyment of life. And therefore, Aihika Bhoga Nivritti Bhayat. From the fear that he may have to give up all the little enjoyments that are available in this life. Jivan Mukti Tyaga, and therefore, to retain those little enjoyments, he is willing to give up even Jivan Mukti. So I don't want Jivan Mukti. I want knowledge, and knowledge will give me Videha Mukti, and when I am alive, fine, I can have my little pleasures. If this is your problem, then Amoshmika Bhoga Nivritti Bhayat Videha Mukti Api Tyajya. Then do you know that there is something called Swarga or the other world? You see, now the Vedas talk about two kinds of pleasures. One is what? Aihika, other is Amushmika. Aihika, the pleasures available in this world. Amushmika, pleasures available in the other world. Meaning Swarga. So you who cannot become free from the fascinations, the pleasures that this world has to offer, how are you going to become free from the fascinations of Swarga, etc., which are supposed to be much greater pleasures? Usually people desire heavens when they get fed up with this world. No, there is enough here now. And therefore, people perform those yajna yagadi which will give them heavens. Because there are beautiful pictures, presented of the heavens in the scriptures, and so one wants to go to heaven. Okay. Then, Amoshvika Bhoga Nivritti Bhayat. So you will definitely want to retain Amoshvika Bhoga also. Just as while being alive in this life, you want to retain the pleasures available in this world. Certainly after giving up the body, you wish to retain the pleasures available in Swarga also. Because you are a pleasure hunting fellow. The idea is that you are interested in pleasures. You are interested in the sensuous contact with the sense objects. If this is so, then what you can get in the heavens is something fantastic. Swarge loke na bhayam kinchanasti. न तत्रत्वं न जरया बिभेति उभे तीर्त्वा अशनाया पिपासे स्वर्गादिको मोदते I mean उभे तीर्त्वा अशनाया पिपासे शोकादिको modate Swargaloke. As Nachiketa says too, I have heard the Swargaloka is like this. There is no hunger, there is no thirst, and there is no fear, there is no death. And modate Swargaloke. One is ever happy, reveling in enjoyment. So, moment you will hear about that, you will say, I want that also. Now, if you want heavens, meaning amushmika bhoga, or the enjoyments available in the other world, then you will have to give up your Videha Mukti also. Because Videha Mukti means you must have Vairagya from Swarga. Jivan Mukti means you must have Vairagya from Aihika Bhoga. And Videha Mukti means Vairagya from all kinds of bhogas that can possibly be obtained after the death of this body. And if you are not able to give up the pleasures of this world, how are you able to give up the pleasures that are available in the other world? So we would suggest that you give up the Videha Mukti also. So since you want to give up Jivan Mukti, we suggest that Videha Mukti also you better give up. He says, Tarhi Janmapite Astu Eva. It's better that you be born again. Why? Swarga Matrat Kriti Bhavan. And so if you are happy with the Videha Mukti, you say that it's better that you take another birth and be born in heaven so that you can gain the heavenly, you can enjoy the heavenly pleasures. So, amushmika bhoga nivritti bhayat videha mukti hevi tyajya syadvi pratibandhya pariharati. This pratibandhi samana virodhi uttaram, answering in the same way, you know. So somebody asks you a question or somebody raises a doubt, answering in the same manner is called pratibandhi. Samana virodhi uttaram. So, uttaram of the reply also, which is the same nature of the question, is called pratibandhi. So, he says, Jivan Muktihiyam Mahabhut Janma Bhavetu Aham Kriti. Says, let that you know Jivan Mukti, I'll be quite happy and contented by just absence of birth. Then he says, the answer is given, Tarhi Janma Abhiteyastu Eva. Then you better continue with your birth also. Swarga Matrat Kriti Bhavan. You will be quite happy with the pleasures of Swarga. And so, I'm sure you continue with your birth. Pratibandhi Mochanam Shankade. So, this Mochanam, he says, as though he says that the kind of reply that you are giving is not proper, then verse 53 says, why we said what we said. Kshayatishaya doshena Swargo heyo yada tada Swayam doshitamatmayam Kamadih kinna hiyate. Even that fellow says, why? I'm interested in Videha Mukti. Heavens I'm willing to give up. Swarga I'm willing to give up and I want Videha Mukti. He says, Kshayatishaya doshena Swargo heyo. Pratibandhi, he says, Kshayatishaya doshena Swarga heyaha. Yes, Swarga heyaha. That Swarga should be given up, that fellow says. Why? Kshaya atishaya doshena. So many doshas are involved in Swarga. Kshaya is what? Kshaishnatvam. Atishaya is what? Satishayatvam. So these are some of the limitations or they are some of the defects involved in any kind of a pleasure arising from the contact with the sense objects. One is what? Kshaishnatvam. So Kshaishnatvam means that which will come to an end. Kshaya. Kshaya means getting exhausted. So sensuous pleasures are those which will necessarily be Kshaishnu, meaning they will come to an end. Because all the pleasures arising from the sense objects are going to be only temporary, going to be momentary. As long as your mood is, so long you can enjoy things. Suppose you have everything in front of you, but you are not in a mood, well then that's of no use. And then you are in mood and that thing is not there. When the food is in front of me, I am not in mood to eat that. When I am in mood to eat food, then the food is not there. And so many things are required. Mood also is required, food also is required, and stomach also should be in a proper order. The mood also is there, food also is there, but stomach, is not in a proper condition. Then what can you do? Then also you cannot eat. So there must be alignment of these three things. The desirable thing must be there, the mood must be there, and the capability also must be there. I love sweets, all right. They are in front of me, cannot eat because there is no capability. Doctor says you cannot, and also you cannot enjoy. So when will these three factors combine? It's a rare occurrence that I am able also, I am in mood also, and that what I want is there also. When such a unique situation arises, then I can get the pleasure. And how long will it last? As long as your mood lasts. Alright, you can enjoy a given cake. For how long? As long as, at the most, as long as your stomach can accommodate. Or ice cream, or whatever it is. Or a movie, or anything. How long can you enjoy? Up to a certain point. And there is kshaishnatvam. It is going to come to an end. Either your mood will go away, or your capability will go away, or the object will go away. You want the movie to last forever? It's over in 1.5 hours. What can you do now? It's over. So that's what happened, with the children. Once in a while you go to a movie theater, and the movie comes to an end, You don't want to go home. You want to... When I came to the United States, I found out you can continue to sit in the theater. That was nice. In India, only one show, that's all. Here you have 1 and 2, there is 2 movies, and then also nobody would ask you to go. So I know there are several people who would go there at about 2 o'clock when the theater opens, and be there until 10 o'clock. They keep on watching it again and again, Because all those vasanas of watching movie for a long time, they could be satisfied, That is okay, but then also what? See, at 10 o'clock you have to get out of that place, they'll throw you out. And therefore, kshaishnatvam, that pleasure, is definitely going to be exhausted. And satishayatvam. Satishayatvam is that degree of pleasure also leaves something to be desired. This movie is all right, but not like the other one. This cake is good, but not like the other one. And everything is good enough, but it could be better. How do you like it? Well, it could be better, I wish it was like this, and so on and so forth. This is called satishayatvam. Unfortunately, when I am eating ice cream now, I cannot even pay total attention to that ice cream because my mind immediately says, but if the ice cream were like that, it would have been better. That is called satishayatvam. So, surpassability, that a pleasure could always be better. So you feel. And other doshas are also there. But then, kshaishnatvam, satishayatvam, even swarga, we know this from practical experience, that the pleasures of this world are like this. But then, we can infer that the pleasures in heavens also will be like that. Heavens means any situation you can imagine, understand. Heavens doesn't have to mean that what is described there in some other world, even whatever you can think of in future, because in our mind we can always create heavens anyway. When I am in a given situation, my mind always thinks of some kind of a configuration, that when I have this, and I have that, and I have this, and not this, and not that, but that, and this. Everybody has this imagination. I am in this place, fine, but then, if the place had this, and not that, and that is an ideal situation. That's called swarga, for everybody. And there also, kshaishnatvam, satishayatvam. Any situation is going to be what? Well, temporary. Or any situation your mood will be how long? How long will you be able to enjoy anything? As long as your fancy is there. Once the mind's fancy changes, well, it will want something else. And satishayatvam. So we can imagine. So, idaiha punyachito, karmachito lokaha kshiyate, evameva mutra punyachito lokaha kshiyate. That what swarga that you attain as a result of punya also will come to an end. Kshina punya marti lokam vishanti. When the punya comes to an end, assuming that there is something called swarga. And there is definitely swarga in our own mind. Whether such a thing is there out in the sky or not, we do not know. But mind always imagines some kind of a Swarga. And one should always know, Shene Punye Marti Lokam Vishanti, whatever it is that brings about the creation of the heavens, that factor when it gets exhausted, well, Swarga also will be exhausted. So we know Swarga is Kshayishnu. And in Swarga also there is Taratamya. There is this superiority and inferiority in Swarga also. That you can be Karma Deva also. Meaning you can be a driver and a cook and things like that. And then you can be Deva, and then you can be Indra. So much Taratamya is there also. There also you will feel that, well, see, if I had this apartment, it would have been fine. And that you must have heard enough number of stories from Swami, what happens to a man who goes to heaven. And you find that his very neighbor, he has a slot, in one apartment house there. You find that the house they are joining with a very big front yard, etc., and a beautiful house. Now he finds that his neighbor is in that house, in heaven. And this neighbor he knows very well. If he can qualify to come to Swarga in the first place, then this fellow should qualify to go to Vaikuntha, in fact. So many things. And so there also is dissatisfaction. How come this fellow is there? Why should that fellow be there? Why should I have this house? Why should I not have that? And so on and so forth. So Satishayatvam. In Swarga also, that dissatisfaction will remain because some comparisons will always be there. So he says, I don't want Swarga. Purvapakshi says, Kshayatishaya doshena Swargo heyaha. I know that Swarga, the pleasures obtaining in the Swarga, are all limited by Kshayishnutvam, Satishayatvam. And therefore, heyaha, I know that heaven should be given up. If this is so, tada, Swayam doshtamatmayam kamadhi kim nahiyate. Then we ask him, if you are so generous as to give Swarga, then how come you are not able to give this Kamadi? Why do you want to give Swarga? Because dosha yukta Swarga. Swarga is endowed with doshas, all these limitations. Kama, if you want to receive, is what? Dosha tamaha. Dosha tama atma. Swayam dosha tama atmayam Kamadi kim nahiyate. Dosha tama atma means dosha tama swarupa. Atma there means swarupa. What is Kama Krodha? Doshatama. He says, Mahasano Mahapapma Vidhyena Miha Vairanam. This Kama, or the desire, the passion, is Maha Ashana, meaning that you can never fulfill it. It is like a fire, and you can never fulfill this desire. Not only that, Mahapapma. Once you come under the sphere of a desire, then it will make you do any kind of things because you have to fulfill that desire. And when you cannot fulfill it by fair means, surely you are going to take help. If it is a foul means. And that is how we find people compromise values and so on, and that's how Papa comes. So it is said to be Mahapapma. All the sins that are there in the world, all the corruption and everything that you see is only because of this Kama. Otherwise it cannot be there. Wherever you find compromise of values and corruption and whatever it is, whether it's in India or anywhere, is only because of this desire, nothing else. And so this desire will make you commit all kinds of sins, means all kinds of papa. Therefore it's called doshatama atma, doshatama swarupa. All the doshas have the root in kama, because kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, all these are called shadripuhu, 6 enemies. The desire or passion, krodha means anger, lobha means greed, and moha means delusion, mada means pride or arrogance, matsarya means jealousy. So these are all of these have the root in kama. Therefore kama is called doshatama swarupa. So you want to give swarga, why? Because dosha yukta. Because in swarga also desire will be there, and it is this kama krodha which in fact makes you jealous, etc. in swarga also, and therefore you want to give that swarga which has only some kama krodha, and you don't want to give kama krodha which is of the nature of this dosha. So doshatama atma, doshatama swarupaha, ayam kamadhi kim nahiyate. How come you are not willing to give up this kama krodha which is of the nature of all the doshas? That's what the Tikakara explains. दोषयुक्तत्वेन स्वर्गादेः त्याज्यत्वे सकल पुरुषार्थ विघातकत्वेन अतीव दोषरूपस्य कामादेः सुतरां त्याज्यत्वम्. If you say that dosha yuktatvena, since the pleasures obtainable in the heavens are endowed with dosha, are endowed with these defects or endowed with these limitations, that they are kshayishnu, they are also temporary, and satishaya, they are also available only in certain degree. And therefore you say that the pleasures in the heavens should be given up. Then sakala purushartha vighatakatvena ativa dosha rupasya kamadehe. This kama is sakala purushartha vighataka. Because kamat sanjayate krodha, krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibramah, smriti bhramshat buddhinasha, buddhinashat pranashyati. What is that pranasha? Sakala purushartha vighatakatvam. That a person becomes incapable of pursuing even the ordinary ends of life. This kama ultimately makes him a worthless person. And so kama will destroy you completely. So that kama which completely destroys you, how come you are not willing to give up? When swarga, alright, you are willing to give up because some little defect is involved, then what to talk of kama which will destroy you completely? And therefore, dosha rupa. One is dosha yukta, other is dosha rupa, understand? Swarga is dosha yukta, endowed with dosha. Kama is dosha rupa, of the nature of dosha. So if dosha yuktam you can give up, there is a question of dosha rupam, you have to give up. Kamadehe sutram tyajyatvam. Sutram means definitely tyajyatvam. This kamadehe, kama krodha must definitely be given up. And so taditi. And so it is, so स्वयं दोष तमात्मायम तदा इति. So tada स्वयं दोष तमात्मायम कामादिहि किन्नहीयते. In fact, in short, he is made to think as to what is it that makes you even raise this question. It's because some kama, some fascination is there in your mind and you want to retain that. And you don't see all the problems that are involved with those kind of things, and he's just made to see here. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha.